Hi, we're back. We haven't had you on the show for a little while. It feels like ages.
Oh, it really is.
It is. How have you been?
Well, to be honest with you, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. I spent 20 days straight out of from Boxing Day in New Zealand. I worked 7 rodeos and three paid gigs as well in between, and went pretty much the whole North Island from one end to the other.
Yep.
And so I arrived back home last Tuesday. So Wednesday was washing day. That's what Wednesday stands for. It's washing day. So I washed. I did some forward programming for the AM radio network that I look after in Kingaroy and right across regional Queensland.
Yes.
Because the boss begged and pleaded, "Oh, can you do logs for me?" I said, "Okay." He said, "I'll give it to you in lieu." So I got an extra bonus, 2 days holiday, I think. I said two. I think it wasn't one. So if he hears this interview, it's two.
Yeah.
From there, literally drove down to Caboolture on Thursday last week because I had a little common denominator a few months, about not even 2 months ago, maybe 6 weeks. Had a FaceTime chat with expat Aussie Michael Flanders, who is my producer, based in Gallatin and just outside of Nashville. And he said, "I've got a mate that's coming over. He played at the Gympie Muster. They want him to play at the West Leagues Club." And I said, "I'd like you to meet him." So we set up a 3-way. And so I ended up connecting with Craig Wayne Bullock, visiting American, who won The Voice in 2014. And you can see why once you hear him. He has a set of pipes on him. And just ridiculous range. But anyway, from there, so first thing Friday morning, pick him up from the airport, drive to Tamworth. We go straight to the trots because he had VIPs to the Carnival Cups.
Yes.
And welcome to Tamworth. And from there, I had a little radio interview locally with 2TM, the Heritage Station, and on Saturday, so I eased into my program. And then from there, Saturday or Sunday, I did a songwriting event or gig first up just after lunch, and then had the full band at the Leagues Club for the Legends Bar. And we rocked it from 7 to 10. And then Craig he's doing the late night shift. So we held the crowd for him coming out of the Country Goes Pink night.
Yes.
And we just had an absolute blast. And so from there, very humbled to go out to the LBS studios. And they put me on the Wall of Honor.
I saw that. I saw that. I was going to ask you. That was beautiful. And do you know when that photo that you put up and the names around your names, I was just getting goosebumps thinking about it. How you heard that. It's taken you so long to get your name on that wall. And it was so special.
To be honest, I thought they'd forgotten about me a little bit. But I've just got to say, I'm very thankful for COVID, the year that wasn't, because that reignited my music career. I all of a sudden, I had nothing to do on weekends. I was always so busy. No rodeos, no bull rides, no ag shows. It's like, what do I do? That guitar's been sitting in the corner of the room for a long time. So let's write some songs. And it's ignited it times 10.
I was going to say, it's probably more than it was before, really, because you're just enjoying it now.
I'm loving the creative side. I was able to do a week of songwriting in Nashville with some of the world's best songwriters in their local front over there, and from there now I'm on the cusp. That's a very fancy word for me at this time of day. I'm on the cusp of actually releasing an album that is Larry Cann, the songwriter. So all 10 songs will be something I had a hand in writing.
Lovely. It's going to be a journey. That sounds like that album's actually going to take us on a bit of a journey, isn't it?
There'll be a lot of diversification on the album too. So from some real fun stuff, some flat out country rock like Ride You Want to Remember that I've already released. But some very nostalgic, I guess, if you want to, like Only a Cowgirl. And
I love that.
There's another one on there that they're working on currently. And it will be something special too. I had a writing session with a guy named Chris Burgenis, and he basically talks It reminded me of I saw a program on the great writer Harlan Howard, who passed away quite a few years ago. And like when you talked to Harlan, it was like he was talking in song lyrics. That's how he would answer a conversation.
And without consciously thinking
about it. Because he went right back to some of the great songs of Patsy Cline and right through to, right up to our era now. But Chris Burgenis is basically the same. We walked into the songwriting session and he said, "Oh, Larry, what have you been doing?" I said, "Oh, I've been up visiting my family in Montana." "Oh, somewhere in Montana.
Yeah.
There's a girl with a porch light on."
Yep.
He said, "You better write that down." And anyway, that was how the start of this really cool song that talks about somewhere in Montana, a cowboy's pining for his girl. The girl's waiting, but will she wait alone?
Yeah.
That's the question. And then we change it up. We actually do a key change, which was pretty popular in the 90s country format. And it talks about the guy singing, playing guitar on the sawdust floor. And he should be home.
Great.
He should be home.
I loved being his mind listening to those lyrics just naturally coming out. I wonder if he's trained himself to do that, or it's just how he naturally.
It does make you wonder, because this guy, he said, "I won't tell you who I wrote with. I'll just give you a playlist of all the songs that I had in writing." And it was like Tim McGraw, there was Faith Hill in there, there was Chris Ledoux, he wrote Dallas Days and Fort Worth Nights, and just a bunch of others. Wow. But anyway, that was quite the adventure.
And it's beautiful because, and I think it was Adam Harvey. We had him on the show late last year, and he was saying, the people he was writing with, he thought, "Oh, they're not going to have time for me. It's just a small Australian thing, compared to what they write with." But they actually do have time for every artist, where they're from, what level they are. These songwriters that write songs with the Tim McGraws and all of those want to write it with Australians. They want to write it with different styled artists. They've got the time for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that they take us in wholeheartedly because we come from it. We do have sort of parallel ways we grew up. The countries are quite similar to a point. So that allows us to have a different angle when we come into our thought process of writing a song. So like another instance, a song I released early last year that went #1 and really tickled my fancy, I guess, if you want to put it that way, because it was just an old cowboy waltz, and the Pretty Only a Cowgirl to go #1 on Tracy and Big D's country radio chart, and also the traditional chart. There's been a long time since a song has done that.
Yes, it has.
It would have been interesting to know, actually. That'd be one of those statistics that I'd be interested in.
I like that side of things too. The other thing, congratulations too, because you had another win. Tell us about your recent one.
Well,
it's hard to talk about when it's so new.
It's very fresh. Like I haven't even got to really show anybody other than take a quick happy snap on the social. But for a start this week, I was added to the Wall of Honour for Australian country music. We spoke briefly on that, which, that was just going to be a highlight this week anyway.
How long did they notify you?
They gave me a heads up when I was coming through from a rodeo about 3 or 4 months ago that we would like to induct you, and I sort of really didn't understand the whole process was all about. But it was a special day, and I was able to sing three originals on the performance that they had set up at the LBS Studio Theatre out the back. And from there, one thing sort of led to the other. I was up for the traditional country male artist single of the year gold medallion deal, I guess is what they call it, and through the CCMAs. And the coolest part of the whole deal is they present and announce the winners of that in the town hall. And the acoustics in there are absolutely fantastic. You're kind of dreamy, to be honest with you. And anyway, I sang Tamworth Gold, and it's been the only song released by Australian country artists that actually tie in the cowboys and cowgirls going for gold buckles and the country artists and singers across the country going for golden guitars.
We were talking about that before we went live. It's not something that had really sort of been crossed over. Like,
no. And now the irony of it as well, not just the fact that I was explaining that to Alan Caswell, who I co-wrote the song with, he couldn't believe that happened on the same night. But then I look at it now and go, wait a minute, I've actually been doing the same thing. I got second in the bull ride here in Tamworth in 1993 in the old shed out in the
I
showground.
remember I've been to a few of the rodeos.
Yeah, so I got second out there on the first night I competed. It was a 3-night rough stock spectacular. That was back when Gary McPhee was hauling around Chainsaw.
Yep.
I got on pretty much every bull that he had except Chainsaw. So here I was. I got second the one night. Was just loving life and living 8 seconds at a time. And then to be able to come back and now obviously tell the story about it, but also chase the memories in song. How cool is it?
It's really special, isn't it? Because it captures it differently, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And it's good because it goes, especially for your family, and that you're handing that through. Like, you've captured those moments for you in it's
Thank you.
Capture those moments in a song that you can pass down to your generations in your family and know that you've had that part and that's what they've come from.
Yeah, and to be able to make that contribution, I think, even to the industry, that here it is a lifestyle. Being a cowboy, cowgirl, a person from the bush, whether it's a stockman or just somebody, that's doing the cropping, it's a walk of life, and it's something that we need to be proud of in this country, because without them, the primary producers, we're not much, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We got to know where our bread's buttered on, as mum and dad used to say.
Yes.
So to be able to live that in song and to then incorporate it into the sports or the Western worlds of us that grew up in the countryside, it's just another feather in the cap, and it's very special.
Very special. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I wanted to touch on, CMAA, you ran for the board this year. Congratulations.
Scary. So did
scary
you.
Stuff. It is scary, isn't it? Did you find that when you were writing that? Like, how do I encompass this in? Was it 250 words or something?
Was it even 250? It might have been 150.
I was like, how do you do this? Do I just write words?
Dot points.
Why do I want this? Because it's everything to us, isn't it? This industry has shaped our whole careers, whole lives. And we need to want to that.
Well, and that's it. I've been fortunate enough to be on sort of both sides of the fence. Let's get away from the rodeo side of it. But been working radio since 1997.
Yes.
And these days, I'm not so much. I still do country programming, and that's obviously where my heart is. But I work for Resonate Media in Queensland and look after their classic hits format. Yes. But that's just the job. It's not what I love. And when I can get back into the country side of it, work the Hot Country Network, which is up in Queensland, and so I stay in touch with everything that's going on. But you just see some of the ways where I think things, when it comes to a programming sense, a lot of communities or radio stations per se are getting too much down a narrow road. They're not looking at the bigger picture. There is plenty of diversity in this country, and I know we can't incorporate it all, and you're always going to have people that like certain other types. But I know, and generally speaking, you're looking to, as a programmer, you're trying to market into the bigger percentage of listeners.
Absolutely.
So that's what you work on. But there's no reason to not show your appreciation to for instance, to every single one. And like, for instance, relating back to where that guided the new talent, where did their talent even come from? What were the artists that guided them? I love that stuff. I'm big on the core of country music, on what actually made me who I am when it comes to interpreting a song.
I think it's so important that we keep hold of the heritage and where this industry's come from. But I equally think it's important to evolve with it. And when you think about back in Slim's early days with golden guitars, all those sorts of things, the biggest thing we find in this industry is it's always been done like that. And I think that's so dangerous But I also think it's important to remember it was done like that. But you never saw people like Slim not evolving and not supporting artists that were today. Keith Urban's a great example.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Perfect example. He supported him in the early days, and a lot of people didn't. And he supported the change, and he supported the change in style. And I think we've forgotten some areas to keep evolving. And we need to grow, but we also do need to hold to our heritage as well.
Yeah, and I think too, we've got to remember music as a whole in general is a revolving door. What goes around comes around. So you talk about story songs, you talk about hook, line, and sinker songs, which were famous in the 90s country format of the USA. You know, it was all about the catchphrase basically, and what's going to hook you in, but you know, there is a place for it all.
There is,
but
absolutely.
you've just got to find the right balance and find the right formula. It is getting harder with the social media front.
Yep, definitely.
But we always say top talent will always rise to the top.
Absolutely. It's just, and you know, I think artists are getting really good at it at the moment. I think they've realised that just being a good singer and a good songwriter isn't actually enough. You have to have a whole package, as I always talk about. But what artists are doing to get up to that top level is they're finding their groove and their individual thing as to why does someone want to come to my show and see me? So they're coming into the industry with a different angle, and people are actually opening up to those angles. And so I think as an industry, we need to support people to continue releasing what they want to release.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we've heard those horror stories where big major record companies, when they used to give out a lot of record deals, when they had that income to do so, they would dictate what songs you were supposed to record. You didn't have a say at all.
No, and now they're getting more say.
I think so too, and I think, you know, they've got to really respect the independent artists through the industry, but also in the marketing sense, they've got to remember that the independents have paid for everything up to this point.
Everything, that's
you
right.
know, they're not getting any favours from anybody. They've done it all themselves, and they know how much of a strain it is on the back pocket and to keep running the dream, so to speak, if you want to put it that way. So to find that balance, I think, in the whole, it really is. But I think, you know, I guess my son probably said it the best. I think, you know, in this crazy world, it's just all about the hashtag. So my hashtag, obviously, is cowboy country. But, you know, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I am who I am. And if I can sing about stuff that I've lived, well, that's what I'll be singing about for the rest of my life.
The thing is, it's believable because you have lived it. And I think that's one thing that in country music, we are really good at living and putting our lives into music, which is why I think it's grown to be one of the biggest genres there is. And country at the moment, you would nearly say it's the biggest genre in the world at the moment. It's such, the fan base has just grown incredibly. And I do still think it comes back to those roots of what we're seeing about is real, and people relate to it. I think that's why. And
that's where we say, you know, we have to keep going back to those founding fathers and mums in that sense. You know, both female and male country singers that guided us to who we are. And if you even go through a lot of the rock artists, you know. Look at some of their great lyricists. They'll be claiming some of the all-time great country artists as that's who they are. They just chose to go that way. But I tell you what, everybody's got a little bit of country in them all.
Absolutely, because we're the best. That's right. No, it was just really lovely to see you on there, and I think they definitely need to have that change come in where people that have got different ideas, we can bring it to the table for things like festival and things like that. So
well, and I think, you know, because we've been able to see it on so many different sides of the fence, as an outsider looking in, as a fan of music, and I remember actually the first programmer I worked with, I was actually still over in the United States at the time. I just finished broadcasting school, and the manager said, "Oh, you know." For a start, he said, whatever you're learning in the broadcasting school, forget it. That was exactly his words. But he said, remember, once you get your head into programming and looking at promoting, remember to look at it through a fan's eyes and heart.
Yes, that is the best advice, actually. I love that. That is fantastic. So yes, I'm very glad to see you on that film, and I hope that you get in, because I think we definitely need you in there. I think it's been a great year for you so far, so let's hope it continues, and in a few weeks we'll know that you're on the board. That would be wonderful.
Just in case I didn't have another hat to wear.
Yes, because you've got all the spare time to work. We definitely, but I guess that's the thing, isn't it? This is part of us. It's not a choice. Music is part of us. So, you get make time. We always make time in music, don't we? But what about the rest of the time? Where can we see you between now and Sunday?
All right. Basically, I've just got a couple more musical engagements to do. I put the announcer's hat on for the junior national finals of the Australian Listeners Camp Draft. So the kids are free. So every morning from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm working Thursday and Saturday in the main ring as the announcer. I can't do Friday because then I put back the singer's hat and the MC's hat, working with Vickery Maloney, another great community radio broadcaster from the north coast of New South Wales, out Maxfield Way. And anyway, I'll be co-hosting with Vickery the ICMA Awards being held at the Lindsay Butler Theatre out the back. So that's going to be Friday morning. And then, then back onto the rodeo hat, then each night for the senior national finals, I'll be up on the truck interviewing each of the winners of the rounds as they do their victory lap. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then I'll do their presentations on Saturday night, give the main ring announcers, my good friends out Dubbo Way. We got Justin and, of course, Glenn Morgan that's around. So they'll be working hand in hand at the tables, setting the scenes, and I'm sort of the colourful guy in the threesome, I guess, in that sense. And then I was fortunate enough to pick up a guest spot, so I got a 40-minute singing spot on the Outback show of Lockie Cosses at the West Event Centre on Australia Day evening. I think it starts at 6 on Sunday night, so that'll wrap me up. But obviously, I've been the taxi driver for the American visitor who won The Voice in 2014, Craig Wayne Boyd, since we come to town on Friday. And he wraps up with his last show at the Legends Bar at West on Sunday night. He does a 10:30 to roughly 1 o'clock to wrap things up. He's had some great responses and such a honky-tonk and an amazing vocal. You can see why he won the Voice because of his vocal dynamics. But I'll wake him up on the Monday and say, we've got to go to Brisbane to catch a plane. So he flies out on the 28th. So that'll be me. And then I think I get back to my normal hat for at least a week and a half, and then I fly to New Zealand for two gigs in a rodeo between the 5th and the 9th of February.
Wow, 2025 is huge already. You're exhausted and it's not even a month in.
I'm tired thinking about it, but it's great.
But it is great. And it's so lovely to see you having plenty of gigs, having plenty of things. And it's nice to see music back in the full swing at the moment.
Oh, definitely. And it's just great to be back at Tamworth. I'm just having a blast, and to just even have any recognition within the industry, because I've worked so hard to get through there from working sort of in the back door, or basically from the programming head, to then stepping out and just saying, look, I can write songs, and getting people to come up and say, I love this track. And I just met guys at the Oasis. I just did a songwriter session there, and they said, oh, you sang the song last year here, and we come back to see it today, and you sung it just there in the songwriter session. And it was Some Kind of Cowboy that I wrote with Kaz as well. So we've had a pretty good strike rate. Tamworth Gold and Some Kind of Cowboy. But I tell you what, I'm no frills. I might be chaps and boots, but I'm no frills when it comes to my country. I do what I love and what I've lived. So if you want to check out LarryCannMusic.com, or just go to the social media downloads, whichever music format you go. I do have hard copy CDs, and watch out for the new fully songwriter version of an album. Should be out late April, and we got the new single with young Cameron Cusack called Craven Country, which we started shooting the film clip here. So if you might have been in some of the crowd scenes walking past, you never know. Watch it out on the film clip.
Watch out for you on that clip. That will be exciting.
So thanks, Danny.
Thank you so much for coming and chatting to me. I love catching up every year, and I can't wait to have you on the show for your next release.
It'll be fun.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. We have got so much coming this week, so stay tuned. I've got a fair few of the shows already up on social media, but keep an eye out because I'll get the rest up shortly. If you're out and about in Tamworth, come and say hi. We're from the Atrium until Friday, so come down and say hi, and we'll love to see you. Thank you again.
You're welcome.